It is day 19 of the NBA hiatus as the U.S. continues, of course, to battle the COVID-19 pandemic. And the NBA is continuing their efforts on restarting the league, and owner Mark Cuban of the Mavericks said last week he was hopeful to get the league back by mid-May. And so this is why we wanted Windy with us here today, because I don't feel like anyone has had better perspective on this thing from even before it began than you have, Windy. And so what is the latest you are hearing about how and when the league can resume play?
Yeah, they're having conversations at the ownership level about what to do here, but they have no timeline, of course. The reality is, and I know that I started talking about this over the weekend, and I got a lot of pushback, Greeny, but I have to talk about reality. The reality is that not only when it comes back is there not going to be any fans, but there's a decent chance that they're going to have to look at centralizing teams. It is what the Chinese are doing with their league, and they're facing a 4-month delay to get it done. Over the weekend, the Premier League, there were reports out of England that the Premier League, the leading league in the world for soccer, is thinking about doing the exact same things in the Midlands in England, basically out in the rural areas. And I think this is what the NBA is going to have to seriously look at is centralized locations. LeBron shot down the concept of this idea last week. Other players that I have talked to don't like it, but it is what the reality is. The hard thing, the number one thing, is to get the players protected and to keep them healthy. And you can't travel to do it, and you've got to create like a tunnel for them to stay in. And that's why I think it's going to have to be, maybe not at one place, but it may be a couple centralized locations.
Let's be real specific about what we're talking about. And every time I've had you on, I've made this same remark. We can't tell you what's going to happen in the future. We can, however, tell you what's happened in the past. And you are telling us this is what they had to do in China with basketball. This is what they're doing in England with the Premier League, a soccer league that is every bit as big and significant as the NBA is here. That they are basically clustering all of the teams in a small place. Everyone is coming to the same one small place, and they will play it out there. That's what we're talking about here.
Well, in China, it's 2 different cities, 10 teams in each city, but it's comparable because China's a huge country. They have 20 teams. In England, they're talking about it. But yes, and by the way, to get this done, to have temperature checks on the players every single day, to put them basically in a hotel where there's, and the important thing here, Greeny, there's no players association in China. That would have to be negotiated with the NBA. The Chinese can just implement it and say, you want to be in the league? Report to this location and we're going to put you in a hotel. It would be more complicated for the NBA. But even the Chinese haven't been able to get it done yet. And they keep delaying it and delaying it. But this is the route they're going. And it's going to take the Chinese 3.5 months. And maybe the U.S., if we do okay as a country and get healthier, maybe we can cut it down a little bit. But I still think it's going to be months and months, and it's going to be centralized when it comes back. The Chinese are hoping that they can play the rest of their regular season and then bring fans back in, that by June in China it will be in a position that they can do that. Hopefully that's something the NBA could do. But in the initial phases of this, centralized locations in a bubble is what all the top leagues are looking at. The NBA is on that list.
You mentioned that the players don't like this idea, and it's easy to understand why they wouldn't like it, to be taken away from their families and everyone they care about during this extraordinary time. It's easy to see why someone would be opposed to that. However, if indeed it comes down to this is the only option to play any semblance of a season here, provide that entertainment for people, and preserve whatever percentage of the money would still be available, I know I'm asking you to guess. Is your sense that the players ultimately would do it?
Well, this is where LeBron's voice matters so much, because LeBron has said he doesn't want to play in front, not outside the presence of fans, and he doesn't want to go to a sequestered situation. Does LeBron want to play to try to win a title this year? That's the bottom line. And yes, it's about money, but it's also about those teams at the top trying to play for that title. And there's going to have to be some negotiation, Greeny, here between the owners and the players. Now, the MLB just got this done. They have not started in the NBA yet, but there's going to be a fight over money very soon, and these topics are going to come to the forefront, and I expect it to get dicey.
Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming, sports, and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.